Are you ready to turn heads? Luxury isn't just worn, it's experienced. Introducing a Layla Carroll style and new up-and-coming designer collection where exclusive shoes and bags for men and women meets your feet. How about you take a handbag and wear it in style, where each piece is personally designed by Layla Carroll herself and handcrafted from the finest material in Italy. Leather, smooth like butter, bold, timeless, distinctly you. Step into true elegance and make your mark with a Layla Carroll style where confidence meets craftsmanship. Visit a Layla Carroll style and experience the luxury of art that you wear. Hey, so welcome back to Improving Your Thoughts by Freeing Yourself. I'm your host, Layla Carroll, and today's conversation is one that has changed my entire life. It's called The Silent Power of Walking Away. See, many people think that walking away without speaking the last word or getting your point across is weakness, but actually it's your strength. It's a superpower. And so in this episode today, we're going to talk about how being silent is actually one of the best ways to get your point across. Now, before we get started, let's pause for a second and breathe. We want to do some breathing techniques just to get us more centered as well as relaxed, because I want you to get the message. I want you to take it all in, soak it in, okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to start with a deep breath in. Breathe in through your nose. Hold it for 4 seconds. And then you're going to exhale through your mouth slowly. Let it all out. Yes. That's the sound of trying to find yourself. So, because sometimes peace doesn't come when you win an argument. Have you ever thought about that? You got into an argument with someone and you said everything you needed to say, and it felt really good to get it out in the moment. But then moments later, maybe like a few hours later, or even the next day, you start thinking like, did I really win? Or is this just something that I just had to do for the moment? I found myself in situations where I would say something or I would get that argument out because the person want to argue, and then as I'm leaving, I would be talking to myself and say, I told myself I was not going to take it there. I was going to be calm. I was going to stay centered, and I was going to not allow this person to get me out of my character, and yet I failed that mission. And sometimes the mission is not even for you to get your point across. It's not even for you to even win an argument. On some occasions, it's a test to test your willpower of how much control do you really have of yourself. So think about that for a little bit. I want you to know that sometimes peace doesn't come when we win the argument. It doesn't come when they finally see our side. Peace shows up the moment we decide to stop fighting with what's not fighting for us. When you get into a situation where you feel the need to express yourself and get your feelings out, which it's okay if you do it in a way where it's not taking so much energy from you. But if you find yourself in a situation where you're struggling to get out your words because you're so frustrated, and you might say something, you end up saying something that you really didn't want to say, or let's say you wanted to say it, but you knew that whatever it was you was going to say was going to hurt the other person's feelings. Now you got to go back and try to apologize later on down the line. Then that is when winning an argument isn't actually peaceful. So pick and choose your battles. Let's talk about the day that I got quiet. I got to a point in my life where I felt the need to just stop talking to certain people and to just cut them off. But then there are certain people in my life that I felt that I can't cut them completely off, but I can minimize how much energy and how much of my time I give to this person. So there was a moment when I found myself changing my strategy. So let me share a moment from my life that I've never forgotten. I want to give you a little story, okay? So there was a season where I was exhausted from trying to be understood. And I went through that a lot in relationships, not just my marriage to my deceased husband or even to my first husband, even with some boyfriends that I had, even with so-called friendships. I mean, you try to get someone to see your side and to understand. That's what I was trying to do. I did that a lot, trying to get people to understand me. I would talk, I would explain, I would repeat myself, hoping the person will see the other side. And the problem is that they never did. They didn't get it. They didn't get me because they had their mind made up about what they was wanting from me. And no matter what I said, how much I expressed it, it just wasn't going to work. I was going to continue to be exhausted. But what I understood was that they wanted control. That's what made me start being quiet. And one day I was talking to someone about my mother. And I was giving this person the information about her based on some experiences that I have already had with her and about some things I was going through with her. And the person told me, I've been knowing your mother since we was children. She's always been this way. And now that she feel the need to show you that she wants control. And I felt that, how could this be? I'm grown. You can't control me. You should know that. That's what I'm thinking. But as time went on, and it's been some years now since that conversation, I can actually see what the person was talking about. But she wasn't the only one that I've dealt with in that way. I have others in my life. But what I learned is that when you have this certain aura about you, you attract that to you. And because I was raised with someone who was always controlling, I felt that that was normal. Well, I thought it was. I know it ain't now, but I thought it was during the time when I was not aware that it wasn't normal. And I realized that I was attracting those same type of people into my life. But what I had to do was start changing me. And every time I noticed that I would engage with people like this, if I start feeling small for any kind of reason, I knew then it was time to let go of this whatever situation that we had going on, no matter what it is. Even to this day, if I meet someone and I feel that this person is a narcissist, or they just feel the need that they just have to always take the lead in situations that they shouldn't be taking the lead on, which is someone else's life, then I'll say, okay, this is not a person that I need to have around me. So every conversation, if it turns into a chaotic situation, I have to realize that that is not the person that I want around me. I live a very peaceful life now. I can truly say that now. It feels good to wake up in the morning and not have drama ringing my phone. It feels good to wake up in the morning and I can get my coffee and I can sip slow and I can enjoy the savory of my coffee. It feels good that I can go out in the back of my home in my yard and I can sit in my rocking chair and I can look up in the sky and I can see planes flying by and birds flying by and just listen to the city noise and just the breeze and just feel the peace of it all. I wake up for those moments. Those are the moments that I really enjoy. And I feel like I'm not going to let anyone disrupt that. I mean, I know that I cannot stop everything from happening. You can't completely control what's going to happen in your day. But I can control pretty much majority of how I handle what happens in my day. Not always, but I can try. So, what I realized is that I remember one day I was looking at myself in the mirror and I was whispering, I can't keep losing myself just to prove a point. And that day, I didn't want to make a big announcement about I'm just going to stop talking to certain people. I noticed how some people would get on social media, and I have seen this time and time again where people would get on social media and they would make an announcement and say, if you is not my real friend, I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to delete everyone who doesn't reply to my posts. If I don't see y'all replying, I'm going to delete you, or I'm just going to start cutting people off slowly. And excuse me. And I've noticed that. And I said to myself, why do we even have to announce these things? Let it just be. And one day people would just wake up and realize they ain't heard from you in a while. That's how it used to be before social media came around. People would just go quiet. And you'd be wondering, why haven't I heard or seen this person in a minute? Which is a great way to get people to appreciate you. When your absence has been felt, now they get the opportunity to see what it's like when you're not around, and they learn to appreciate you. So just remember to get quiet and stay quiet until the time comes when you need to start saying something. So when I decided to just get quiet, I also stopped explaining myself. I stopped chasing closure, and I started walking away. The silence, yeah, it was a bit uncomfortable at first because I've gotten accustomed to hearing certain people's voices. And I realized that the reason why you want to hear these people's voices is because it's been embedded inside of you. That's what I'm telling myself. It's been embedded inside of you. This is why you want to keep hearing this person's voice. But you got to realize it comes a time when you have to take control of the noise and silence the noise. So because when I spent years defending myself, silence felt like a defeat. That's how it felt to me. But over time, I realized it was healing me. It was healing my soul. In the quiet, I could finally hear myself think. And oh, believe me, when that noise was ringing in my ear, I could not hear my thoughts at all. I would be wondering to myself sometimes why I'm not able to concentrate like I used to. What is going on with my creativity? Because I call it my muse. I just say, where's my muse? It's not here. I don't have my muse. Well, I don't feel creative because I had so much noise going on. My thoughts would literally be going to the situation that was brought to me. These was not my problems. These was other people's problems, but they was bringing them to me, putting them off on me to solve them. And I cannot solve your problems. You have to solve your own problem. So I would give solutions, and I would say, hey, this would be a good way, or maybe you should try this way, or let's see if this works, or maybe I can do this. But I was told, and I was told this actually yesterday. Someone told me yesterday, said, the reason why.
We'll be back after a quick break.
If you haven't already, check out my luxury shoe and bag collection, a Carroll style. Each piece is personally designed by me and handcrafted from genuine Italian leather. Whether you're dressing up or keeping it casual, these pieces were made to help you walk with confidence. Because real style starts from how you feel. Go to alelacarrollstyle.com and experience these bold, timeless, and completely all you. Check it out. You might find something you like. Your mother was not going to your brother, although he lives in the same city as her and you don't. It's because you were spoiling her and your brother don't. And she got accustomed to the way you were with her. I wasn't only told that by this person. I was told this by my aunt, one of my mom's sisters. I was told this by someone else. And so yesterday was the time for me to see and think clearly, because the noise had stopped. I hadn't talked to my mom, like I said, since her birthday, since June 25th. And, it's been almost 5 months, and I'm still not saying anything, even though I did invite my mother to come for Thanksgiving, but I asked my aunt to have her stay at her house because I think that's the best way to do it. And I would see her on Thanksgiving Day, but I would not be having her staying in my house. We can't do that. My mom, we already went through this about her. We all already know about her. So what I realized is that I can still have a relationship with her, but I don't have to have her in the mix all the time, or just having her in the mix deeply in there. This is how I chose to do this. Not to cut her off, not to just completely not talk to her, but have my moments of quiet, moments of silence, because the silence is my power. And also, silence can also be your power. So in the silence, I notice in this time, as I have been quiet, what I've noticed is that God has started to restore me. He started restoring my mental and giving me clarity of thought so I can think better, and I don't react like I used to. So I've heard some things, and I would normally end up reacting to some of the things I heard, but I didn't. I noticed that I didn't react. I was more to myself, saying to myself, is this something that I should even incorporate myself in? And my answer was no. So I didn't insert myself into the situation at all. I said, well, I prayed about it. I did. I sent myself a prayer for her, and I know God is going to take care of her, and if he want me to do anything, he's going to let me know. I'm going to feel the urge, and it's going to be too much to where I know that it's him, and then I would do what I got to do. So what I want you to know is that your thoughts, your peace, your boundaries, you have to learn when to walk away. And walking away, you guys, isn't about pride. It's about preserving yourself. Preservation. That's what it's about. It's saying to you, when you walk away from someone, quietly without all the yelling and screaming and going on. When you walk away, it says that my peace is too expensive for this conversation. You you can use that. Go ahead and use that. I'm pretty sure y'all gonna use that one day. You're gonna get into it with someone gonna say something silly or make you mad, or they're gonna want to have a conversation about something that you really don't want to have a conversation about. And hey, do it. I'm telling you. Say that to that person. They're gonna look at you crazy. They're gonna be like, no, she didn't. No, he didn't have the audacity to say that. Say it. You know what? My piece is too expensive for this conversation. You can't even afford it. I'm just saying. So let's continue. Let's move on. So why is peace power? Why? Why is it? And I want to share it and let you know why is peace power? So let's break this down, because I want you to truly understand the psychology, and the spirituality behind walking away. There's two folds to this, you guys. So when you stop engaging in dysfunction and you decide that you will no longer be interrupted, and you will not let anything let me get it out. You will not let anything interrupt the cycle of your emotional state, and you will not allow someone to manipulate you. What you're saying is, I will no longer feed what's draining me. Anything that drains me, I will not feed it. That's why you walk away in silence, because you don't want to be drained. You don't want that energy zapping and taken away from you. There's something called energetic closure. It means even if you don't get the apology, you still find peace by deciding it's over within you, within yourself. You decide it's over with. And that is called energetic closure. Many people, especially women, we like to say, I need closure. But sometimes you just can't get it. So you have to tell yourself, this is over. And I'm going to continue on with my life. I'm not going to dwell back on the situation. I'm just going to keep moving. Walking away doesn't mean you lost. It means you've outgrown the situation. You outgrown the conversation. That's what it means. It's not revenge. It's not bitterness. It's not anything that's dealing with defeat. What it is evolution. You see, your silence holds energy. Have you ever noticed that when someone gives you the silent treatment, you're bothered by that? You could be, well, some people probably say, I'm not bothered by that. But you might have someone who is bothered by that. But let's just say, even if you're not bothered by someone giving you the silent treatment, I'm going to tell you, I guarantee that a person is ignoring you at some point in that frame of them not speaking to you. Your mind keeps going back to them. It goes back to them. It goes back to them, and to the point to where you have to figure out how to shake it off and not be bothered, or you say something because you're like, why you're not talking? You know, those type of things. That's called energy. That's the energy that silence holds. It speaks louder than words could ever do. Because your mind is wondering, what are they thinking? What are they saying? Why are they not talking? Or you might be, I want you to tell me what's on your mind. I want you to say something. Even if it's horrible, at least you are speaking to me, you know? But I want you to understand that when it comes down to your silence, you being silent, you are also doing the same thing to them. It is an energy that is pulling, even though you're not saying a word. When you stop explaining, you communicate something powerful. when you stop explaining to people about, remember I told you when someone asks you why you did this, why you did that, and you just keep trying to get them to understand why you are choosing the things that you're choosing, it'd be best to just say, because this is what I want, because I want to, or whatever that may be, but you just give them one sentence or just two, but nothing more than two sentences, because it helps you to not overly explain yourself to someone that is taking your energy away. And they already have it in their mind that they're not going to side with you anyway. They're not going to be on your side because they are wanting something from you, and they want what they want. No matter what you tell them, they want what they want. And that's a form of trying to figure out how to manipulate you by getting you to explain yourself, overly explain yourself, and they can try to figure something out, take a little bit out of what you're saying and use it against you. I've had someone do me like that recently. So my husband and I, we're planning for our retirement, and we're trying to figure out what's the best way to go about getting our retirement completely under control. Now, this was a thought of mine some months ago, and I only just thought about it. I didn't speak it out loud. It was just a thought. And this was months ago, you guys. I mean, like 3-4 months ago. And I had a friend that she was in my first wedding. I haven't talked to her in years. I mean, we see each other on Facebook. Like, I see her pictures, her posts, we'll comment every now and then. But we never just had a conversation over the phone in years. She hit me up out of the blue. I really wasn't sure if it was her or not. I was thinking like maybe it's someone who hacked her page. I'm not quite sure who this is. So I had to put her to the test. So I tried to ask her questions about personal things that she should know about. And she finally said, girl, this is me. Like, this is me. And then I said, okay, so what do you want? Like, what's up? What's up? What it was is that she wanted me to participate in a training session that she said she was having. She said she was doing a training session. And I said, okay, I'll do that. Well, come to find out, it was way more than just her going through training. It was also for them to try to convert me into joining her team. And I was like, no, this is not how that's going to go. I'm not going to do this. So I started trying to explain to her, as well as the person, her coach who was training her, that I'm not interested in joining your team. But everything else you talking about, I'm kind of interested in that, because my thought was already on, I need to start making sure my stuff is straight with my retirement as well as my husband. And I said, now let's talk about that. So every time I would say something and I would give a story about my situation or someone that, an example or something that happened or whatever, they would, the trainer, not her, not my friend, but the trainer would take a piece of what I said and start trying to use that to get me to sign up and be a part of their team. And I was like, I got too much on my plate right now. I cannot have another project. I have 2 businesses. I'm working as a flight attendant. I got podcasts. I got books that I'm writing. I can't do nothing else. And I'm a husband, and I'm a wife. I got a husband, and I got a child. My mother. I just can't add another thing to my plate. And then I kept saying to her, to the point to where I was trying to get her to understand, and I was kind of getting frustrated. And I just realized that I got to use my own coaching method for myself too. And I just flat out just said it. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not joining your team. And they got quiet. And I say, hey, I tried to explain, but you wasn't accepting my explanation. You was taking bits and pieces of it and using it to rebuttal. And I don't like that. So that's why I said flat out, I'm just not joining your team. I'm not going to do it. And that was it. And so I said, now everything else, now this, let me tell you what I'm interested in. So that way we could just stick to that. And before I bring my husband in on this conversation, because I know my husband, he is a real straightforward person. Before I bring him into this conversation and y'all feel like he's being rude, I'm going to let you know right now, we're going to stick to these two topics. We're going to talk about the RAF, we're going to talk about the RAF, and we're going to talk about life insurance. That is it. Nothing else. We're going to talk about the RAF, IRA, and we're going to talk about life insurance. That is it. Nothing else. And they got the point and understood. And it's like, okay, well, that's how we're going to do then. All right. So you have to learn that whatever level that you're on, your peace matters more than more than providing or trying to prove a point. Your peace matters. So definitely make sure that nothing is disrupting that, because I was just laying on the couch minding my own business, watching a nice a nice TV show, but I was literally watching my glorified juicy reality show. Problem is that I was relaxing, okay, and then I get this message coming through, and I'm like, y'all just disrupt my peace for this, and this is not what I was not expecting this. And even though I thought about I do need to plan for my retirement, that was right on time. It's funny how a thought can become a reality, just a thought. I didn't even speak the words out loud, but I did say what I needed to say, and I got my point across, and now we're working on making sure that me and my husband's retirement is straight, but you got to do what you got to do. So just realize that you need to reclaim your emotional control, something that most people never master. That is just something that we don't always master, is learning how to reclaim our emotional control, because I was definitely starting to feel some kind of way, like, why do I feel like I was bamboozled in this call? Because she told me that she was just going to be training and she just needed someone to basically use as a test dummy, and I was willing to be that person for her so she can get her experience and her training in, not knowing that you were going to actually try to convert me to do something that I really didn't want to do and didn't have a clue about what y'all was talking about. And once they started explaining to me what they were talking about, I was really not interested. I was very much so not interested. I'm like, I know exactly what this is, and it's not what I want to do. So let's continue. Let's keep it moving. Let's talk about learning to detach from grief. Now, let's talk about detachment, because it's not easy to detach from anything that you have invested in. It's hard to do. But when you learn to just let go, how do you let go? That's one of the things I think that we don't really explain to someone. We will tell someone easily who's in a broken relationship that is not good for them or healthy, just let it go. But we never, ever really give them the tools to do that. How do you just let go? How do you detach? Because it's not something you can fake. What I would say is walking away doesn't always mean disappointment. It doesn't always mean that you are disappointing yourself, and hey, even if you feel like you're disappointing a person, they'll get over it. They have no choice. They gotta get over it. And if they don't, then there's something that's going on with them that they need to get fixed, that they need to work on. So walking away, it also doesn't mean disappearing. Sometimes it's just simply choosing to emotionally detach. You can be in the person's life, but emotionally not invested. You can be in the same room with the same family member or at the same job, and you can still have your peace. Detachment means I no longer allow this to control how I feel inside. So this is all about you at this moment. You don't have to always be in an argument with somebody. You don't have to ever argue with anyone to get your point across or to feel heard. You don't have to do that. These are things that you can practice when you feel the urge to want to latch out or blow up or just say something. These are ways to practice. This is your time to practice to be quiet and to detach. Detach. Yeah, You feel it, you feel the pain, you feel what you feel, but you can start learning to practice. And over time, you're going to end up winning. You're going to end up finding yourself having more control. So what you're learning in this is to have control of your emotions. It's controlling the way you react to every situation that you are not happy with. You don't have to prove your worth in spaces that can't see you. The person can't see you, they're not talking to you, or they just respecting you. Now, the disrespecting, that's a different situation. We'll talk about that in a different situation. But that is a time when you don't let that slide. I don't tolerate disrespect. I feel like that is something you have to nip in the bud in order for that to stop. But you don't have to always be engaged constantly emotionally when you are dealing with people who like to have problems or start problems or always having problems. So detachment is emotionally, what it is that it helps you to mature. It's an emotional maturity about you. It says, what it's saying is, when you learn how to detach emotionally, you know when to turn it on, you know when to turn it off. You learn how to control your emotions to a point where no one else can do it for you. So what it says is that I can love you and still protect my peace. It also says I can care about you and still choose silence. That's what I'm doing right now with my mom. I love her, but I'm protecting my peace. And I care deeply for her, but I am choosing to be silent. I am. And it also says that I can forgive you, but I can't keep giving you access to my peace. Those are things that you have to learn how to maneuver every time someone tries you. And you're going to be tested. You're going to be tested. No matter what, you're going to be tested. You want to listen? These things here are part of everyday experience when you're dealing with chaotic people or someone who's constantly having problems. Everyone who has problems are not chaotic. But there are some people who, it seems every time you talk to them, or maybe the only time they talk to you, is when they're going through something. And you're trying to figure out how to talk to this person without being rude, or how can I help this person without destroying myself in the process. So you have to figure out what's best. And what I want you to do is to apply these things in every situation, in your relationships, your friendships, your family situations, even with your past self, because you're still fighting. When you are still fighting with yourself about something that happened back then, I don't care if it was a week ago, if it's something that you cannot change, then you need to apply these things. Apply the silence to you, the quietness. Just take a moment and just don't think about it. Make yourself not think about it. Control your thoughts. Find something else to do. Find something to read. Maybe that can help your thoughts. When you're reading, you're putting other thoughts in your mind. So do that, okay? So even if you feel the need where you can't control that, then meditate. Now that's when a good situation start happening. When you start meditating, change your tune. Find some meditation music and just start doing some breathing techniques and breathe and breathe. Or how about you dance? That's a good way of getting your mind off of things. Put some music on that you like to dance to and dance. I'm telling you, it works. I'm telling you, it works. So you don't have to keep revisiting the same pain just because you're used to it. Give yourself permission to leave it alone. You can detach and still have compassion. You can live your life with love and understand that detachment is not only living your life with love, it also gives you the opportunity to be grateful for whatever it is that you're dealing with. To say, you know what, I tried to fix the situation, or I tried to get them to understand what's going on with me. I tried, but I can no longer keep going through this with this person, so I'm going to detach myself from this person, or the situation that happened to me. I'm going to detach myself from that, and I'm going to just keep moving forward. What is it that I need to be doing that is going to bring positive in my life? What detachment is also that it is a form of spiritual strength. It shows that you have the power to leave things alone that doesn't suit you. What you don't want is that you want to be able to wake up in the morning or whenever you wake up, and you want to be able to have a day where you're not bombarded with chaos, or you're not bombarded with other people's problems, or even with your own past problems. Peace is really a self-control thing. I know a lot of people don't know that, but it is. It's something that you learn to control within yourself. Peace is knowing that you can walk away from what hurts without trying to make it hurt less. Yeah, it hurts, but instead of trying to figure out a way to change things or make it hurt lesser than what it feels, just walk away. I keep telling you to walk away from certain things because we find ourselves going back to situations because it's almost like a dog goes back to its vomit. You know it's not good for you. That's why it came out of you the first time. And then you go back and you re-eat it again. Like, don't do that. It's time to change and walk away from it. Move away from it. Even dogs know how to not go back and eat its own vomit. My dog, for instance, so I have a Yorkshire Terrier. When he throws up, he will smell it and then he will walk away. He will not go back to it and eat it. Every time my dog has thrown up, and I'll be like trying to jump and run and get something that I can clean it up with so fast to keep him from eating it, he won't even do it anyway. He smells it and then he walk away from it. He's like, I ain't finna eat that. I said, boy, you picky. I got a picky dog and I like that. You smart enough to know not to mess with that. But that's what I'm saying. Know when to leave it alone. So we're going to talk more about the silent power of walking away. Now, let's slow it down a little bit together. Let's slow it down. I gave you a lot in this short period of time, so I want to slow it down just to help you to gather your thoughts and to soak this information in. And just keep in mind, you can always replay this so you can listen to it again, so you can repeat it. So together, I want us to do some affirmation. I want to lead you in a few affirmation and reflection prompts. First, if you're driving, please pay attention to the road. Pay attention to your surroundings, okay? So if you're at home and you're chilling, I want you to breathe in just slowly through your nose. Hold it for 4 seconds. And I want you to release through your mouth slowly. And if you are journaling, I want you to write these words down. I want you to say this with me. Walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. Walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. Number 2, write this one down. My silence is my power. My silence is my power. Number 3, peace doesn't beg, it decides. Peace doesn't beg, it decides. Okay? Number 4, I don't have to explain what I've already outgrown. I don't have to explain what I've already outgrown. And number 5, I can love from afar and heal up close. Yeah, I can love from afar and heal up close. Now, I want you to reflect on this. What I want you to reflect on, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to think about what I'm asking you. These are only for you, no one else, so you don't have to worry about trying to figure out if someone's going to listen in on you or anything like that. You don't have to write these down. This is just something to think about, okay? I'm going to ask you 4 questions. I want you to reflect on these. Number 1, what situation in your life has been stealing your peace the most? Think about it. Yeah. Think about what you think. What could that be? Is it your job? Is it a person? Being in a relationship with someone, you can't find peace every time you're around them. You're walking on eggshells. Or maybe it's something you decided to do and it just isn't working for you. Or maybe it's something that you haven't done that you should be doing and it's bothering you because you haven't gotten it done or you haven't started on it yet. Maybe, I'm going to give you something very simple. So maybe it's something as simple as cleaning out a closet that has so much stuff in there, and you know that every time you open up that door, it bothers you. So you just try to keep walking past the closet, but it's not going to change until you choose to change it and go and clean that closet. So question number 2, reflect on this one. What would happen if you simply stopped explaining yourself there? You might say, what do you mean by that? What would happen if you simply stop explaining yourself there? Wherever you are in your life, and you're in a situation that you find yourself explaining a lot about, no matter what it is, what would happen if you stopped doing it? If you just say, I'm not explaining myself no more. You already know the situation. I told you. So I'm not going to explain myself no more. So why? It's just I did it. It's over with. Or I'm not going to do it. It's over with. Or whatever is going on is what it is. So what will happen? What you think will happen? It might not even be a big deal. But to you, it might be a big deal. So think about that. Number 3. What are you afraid? What are you afraid might happen if you walk away? And is that fear even true? Because sometimes we might think it's a crazy way of how our mind works. Oh my goodness. We can trick ourselves and believe in something that is not true, and we live it as though it is true. What is it that you are afraid of that could happen? And then think about it. What if that doesn't happen at all? So is it crippling you because you think something's going to happen? And that's what I call anxiety. The fear of the unknown. You just don't know what's going to happen, so you get anxiety about the future. And when the future shows up into the present and it doesn't happen what you was thinking and all the crazy thought that was going through your mind, you start realizing that your thoughts was just what it was. It was just thoughts. And your anxiety is not something to be, it's just not. You should not even be afraid like that. So just think about that. So what about number 4? Let's talk about this one. When was the last time silence brought you more peace than words? We talk a lot, don't we? A lot of people, we like to talk. If we're not talking with our mouth, we're talking with our fingers, but we're still talking. We texting, we commenting on somebody's post, whatever it is, we're still talking. We talk a lot. So when was the last time the silence brought you more peace than words? Situations. I'm going to tell you, for me, when I'm on social media and someone says something foolish, I call it foolish because if it's something that I really don't like, in my mind, I'm thinking, should I reply? And then I'm also saying, no, I'm not going to reply. If I reply back, this is going to give them the power to reply back to me or to go silent on me. But does it really matter? Because I don't know these people. They don't know me. I remember this happened recently. There was a situation. There was a post on Facebook. I can't remember exactly what the post was, but I remember someone responding to me thinking that I was lying about my profession and what I did. And this person had to go and look me up and realize that I wasn't lying about what I did. And it's just, to me, I chose not to go back and forth with this person. So I'm not going to go back and forth with this woman. She don't know me. I don't know her. Why would I go back and forth with a stranger? That is so foolish. See, that's why I call it foolish. That is so foolish. I'm not going to go back and forth. And then other people started chiming in and they started commenting and saying things to her on my behalf. And I was like, see, I didn't even have to say anything. So I want you to take time, and I want these questions that I asked you to not be rushed. I want you to take your time with them. Don't rush it, okay? And I want you to be true to your feelings about every question that you answer, and what I asked you, I want you to definitely be true to it, because I'm going to tell you right now, when you answer these questions, truly you will be free. It will set you free. And remember, every time you walk away from what's not meant for you, you walk towards what is meant for you, which is your peace. Now, I want to talk about peace and how it sounds. Peace has a sound to it. Most people don't know that, but it does. It has a sound to it. I remember walking into one of my apartments when I was living in, and my first husband, we was talking on the phone. He was asking me something. I don't know what he was asking me, but I just know he was asking me something. I had just gotten off from work and I walked into my apartment, and we was divorced at this time already. But when I walked in my apartment, it was so quiet. And he asked me how am I doing, and something else he was asking me about. And I remember telling him, you really want to know how I'm doing? And he was like, yeah. I say, listen to this. And he was trying to listen, and he didn't know what he was listening to. He said, I don't hear anything. I said, exactly. That's my point. It's quiet. That is called peace. That is the sound of peace. So he was like, oh, so you trying to be funny? I'm like, no, I ain't trying to be funny. I'm just telling you the truth. I can come home and not have to argue with somebody or feel like I'm not doing something right. This is wonderful. So, how is your life? I mean, I'm like, so how you doing over there? But that is what I'm trying to say here in this next segment, is that peace has a sound. When I first started choosing peace, excuse me, that was my phone, sorry for that. So yes, when I first started choosing peace, people would always find a way to try to disrupt it. And I was like, why every time I'm trying to do something for myself, it seems like this is when stuff start happening. What I realize is that it's not that things start happening. This is when you're being tested. You have to figure out, are you serious or not? You gotta think, is is this what's going to be my new life? Because if so, then at some point I must put this to the test and I must practice. And while I was practicing choosing my peace, people will say, "Oh, you're different. Oh, you're selfish." How's I'm selfish? Because I'm choosing peace. You know, that's how I would talk to my aunt when she would tell me things about what people would say about me. And I was like, how's I'm selfish? I'm choosing peace. I don't want that chaos in my life, And I'm like, you are all people who have lived way longer than me. You're in your 70s. You've been through a lot. And she would share stories with me about her past and things that she went through. And I was really surprised to hear some of the stuff she would tell me about. And I'm like, wow, God was really with you on some of these things. I didn't, oh my goodness. I remember one time she had got shot. I didn't know that this situation happened more than once. And I was like, oh my God was really with you. And I said, you out of all people should understand why my peace is valuable to me. I'm not going to wait to get to your age or my dad's age because her and my dad is only a year apart. I'm going to wait to get your age. I'm not going to do that to start living in a peaceful state. I am doing that right now. What peace also does, the sound of it is that it softens your tone. It quiets your triggers. So, and it also teaches you to observe, not absorb. It's for you to observe what's going on, but not to absorb it, not to take it in, okay? But when people didn't understand why I was changing, I was okay with it. I started saying, these people don't live in my house. I don't have to deal with them every day. And I'm just going to deal with me. I'm going to let them have their thing because this is their life. And I'm going to have my thing because this is my life. And hey, if we meet up and you got all kinds of things going on, I'm gonna cut it short. But if we meet up and you seem to be more pleasant, then I'm gonna fellowship a little longer. It's just why that's just my choice. So peace doesn't always sound like laughter. It doesn't always have to be with music or anything like that. Sometimes it's just nothing. It's like going to the mailbox and you open up the mailbox and you realize that there's nothing in there. And if you're not looking for anything in particular, you're not anxious about something to show up in your mailbox, it's just a normal day, a day that you're not really expecting anything, and you go to the mailbox and it's empty. That's a peaceful feeling because you know that's not a bill in there. You're like, okay, well, no mail means no bills. Ha! Well, not true no more now that bills are paperless. But before we had the internet, before people was paying their bills online, when you would literally have to get an invoice in the mail, and then they would come up to you, and you gotta open the mail. The mailman showing you, hey, you got mail, and you like all these bills. Oh my God, it's just taking my peace away. But when you open that mailbox and it's empty, it's like, yeah, no bills. That's peace. That's the sound of peace. So I want you to just breathe. I want you to stay steady and calm and realize that peace doesn't always have to make noise. Sometimes it sounds like nothing. Just your breath, steady and calm, reminding you that you made it through. That silence that once felt like loneliness, it's the sound of you returning to yourself. Always remember that you hold the ultimate decision in your hands, in the palm of your hands, the palm of your at the tip of your fingertips, in the tip of your tongue. You hold the ultimate decision. Choose your silence. What I want you to do this week, I want you to do something simple but powerful. Every time you feel the urge to defend yourself, I want you to pause. Just don't say anything. Just take a pause. Just stop. And every time you want to explain to someone who's already decided not to understand you, I want you to pause. Okay? Just pause. Don't say anything. And I want you to ask yourself, is this worth my peace? If the answer is no, walk away. You don't have to walk away in anger, being all mad, because that's still going to take away your peace. If you walk away and you're mad, you still let them win. They're still winning over you. Your energy has been zapped, no matter what. I also want you to understand that you don't have to have an attitude about it. So don't have an attitude, but I want you to be aligned. This helps you to align yourself with everything that is going on inside of you. And this is how you will be able to conquer your peace and have what you need with you. Not with someone else, okay? With you. This helps you to conquer yourself with yourself. You don't have to worry about nobody else being able to steal your joy, steal your peace from you. This is you, because you have learned the power of silence through peace. All right? So I want you to let your silence say what your soul is really already deciding to do. Your soul is already making the decision, so I want you to let the silence do that. Probably saying, what are you talking about? Well, I'm going to explain a little bit more. So our soul, like I told you in one other podcast, is full of emotions. It's where our emotions come from. It's where our decisions come from. So your soul makes a decision. I'm not going to do this, or I am going to do this, or I'm going to walk away. But just be quiet. Don't even address the situation. It will help you to make that decision better. You don't have to fight for your peace. You just need to just stop fighting against it, because it's already there. It's just when you don't have control of yourself, then you find yourself losing it. You don't want to lose it. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this message spoke to your heart, share it with someone who needs it. And I want you to remember that your silence is your peace. Remind yourself every day when you wake up that my silence is my peace, that it's my strength, and I will surround myself with peace. I also want you to remember that walking away doesn't close your story. So if you're thinking that I don't have to talk to somebody, you might do have to come back to them. But in the moment when you're about to lose it, then walk away, all right? And come back to talk again. If when you're at peace, then you can settle whatever the dispute might be between y'all, or decision that's going on that's been made. You come back when you're calm, when you have found your strength to talk to this person, all right? In a better way. So walking away doesn't close your story. It opens your peace. Until next time, I'm Layla Carroll. I am signing out. Ow. So remember, I want you to remind yourself that you can keep your spirit calm, your boundaries firm, and your heart open. Keep improving yourself by freeing yourself. Layla Carroll, signing out. Are you feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by stress? Introducing stress management with imaging coaching, your ticket to a calmer, more balanced life. In this journey you will be taking with us here at Imaging Coaching, we'll equip you with powerful techniques and tools you can use to conquer stress, regain control, and transform your life. From deep breathing exercises to mindfulness practices, you'll discover the tools to relax your mind and body. Come join us on this transformative path and unlock a world of inner peace and resilience. Don't let stress hold you back any longer. Take charge of your well-being today with Imaging Coaching, your stress management team. Discover clarity. Defeat stress through Imaging Coaching at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com.